I had a thought, but I was like, I screwed up the rhythm. You know what? Never mind. I wish I had the instruments, but it's okay. Stop.
That would be great.
Here come the drums. What's going? Here come the drums. Yes.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Go ahead and start the.
What's going on, guys? This is Donald. This is the General Geekery. I'm screwing everything up. This is the
Start over.
Yep. Rewind. Delete. Future Donald. Delete this on the recording.
Future Donald. Keep this in the recording.
So, okay. Once more with feeling. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the General Geekery Podcast, the podcast.
Woo!
Yes! Loving the enthusiasm. The podcast where we geek out about all that we love to geek out about with no remorse, no regrets, and with all the enthusiasm in the world.
Brought to you by the FIFA World Cup.
Yes!
Not actually brought to you by the FIFA World Cup.
What I would give for a soundboard.
Oh man, yeah.
If I had a soundboard, oh man, none of us would be safe. None of us would be safe. As always, this is Donald Kaczynski, your resident coffee ninja by day, actor, gamer, streamer by night. And joining me, as always, our social media maestro herself, Hannah Kubiak, the Undertaker by day, dice slinger, artiste, and theater professional by night.
Hello.
I just gotta build everyone up as best as possible. For me, it's easy, but I have to build up everyone else even more.
You could be a professional hype man.
I have stated that. That's true.
No?
Hire me as your hype man. Contact me on Twitter, Instagram, wherever, at RyuzakiMK7. Hire me as your hype man. Sorry. So, alright. So, speaking of hype, I have a really fun topic in mind today. I want to talk about one of my favorite science fiction series of all time. And, honestly, it's taken, for a bit of a time, it took the world by storm when the revival series came out. I am talking, of course, about the one and only Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
Such an iconic theme. So, for me, for those not familiar, Doctor Who is a British science fiction program that started in 1963 originally. And it ran for about 29 years originally in its original syndication. 26, 27. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. The original series ran from 1963 up until 1989, when BBC pulled it. But in that time span, it grew such a following. The only way I can compare Doctor Who fans at that time is if Star Trek fans.
Right, yeah, like the Whovians.
Yes, as they would become to be known as. And then it had a weird rest period in the 90s where the story of the Doctor continued mainly through the fans, through comics, audio dramas, and a Fox television movie in, I think, 1996. That was...
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was weird. There's a weird story behind that. But the BBC revived the show in 2005 under showrunner Russell T Davies, who, well done, good sir. Yep. And
Mark Gatiss involved in that too.
Yes, Mark Gatiss was one of the scriptwriters. He also was in a couple of episodes. He also acted in a couple of episodes.
When? Which ones?
There was one during the David Tennant era.
Okay.
And in Peter Capaldi's last episode, Twice Upon a Time, before he regenerated into Jodie Whittaker.
Okay. I do not remember seeing Mark Gatiss in that show at all. Wow.
It's weird how much he changes sometimes for his on-screen roles, but it's kind of weird. But, yeah, Doctor Who has endured so much because of the fan base surrounding it that as of 2020, it's going into its 57th year?
I'm not good at math. but
roughly, I want to say.
Yeah. Well, it's been 15 years, I guess, since.
It's been 15 years since the revival.
Yeah, and then I think 1986 minus 1963 is.
Well, 1989.
26 years, I guess.
Yeah. So roughly around that, but even still,
It's like 41 years total, I think. I'm bad at math.
Yeah, but also considering how much of the Doctor Who stories was translated onto print as well as audio media. Like I said, there was an entire audio dramas about this that are fantastic.
Oh, audio dramas.
It's actually they're actually really well done. It's insane how well done they are. So yeah, this show has an immense legacy behind it. Ungodly amounts. To the point it's probably one of the most popular sci-fi properties out there. Definitely probably the most popular to come from Britain, I would say.
Oh, for sure.
How I was first introduced to the series, I started with the 2005 revival. I didn't have cable growing up, so I managed to catch the first series of the revival when it appeared on public access, PBS. So, and the first episode was one of the most critically acclaimed episodes of that first series, which was Dalek.
Dalek?
Basically,
one of the first. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the first. Dalek was the episode where it reintroduced one of the Doctor's longest-standing foes in a Dalek, and oh man, it's I want to rewatch it now.
Yeah.
It's so good because it basically twists on itself in a really nice way near the end, where it's wow, kind of thought-provoking.
Yeah. It's you don't really expect that for it to have that sort of impact when you think it's like science fiction, it's fun, but very often science fiction actually is a really good tool for just telling basic truths about humanity.
That's
Kinda
true.
like all fiction, really.
That's very true.
You don't really see it coming. You can kind of make parallels with something that goes on in your real life, in your world. But when you're watching it in a science fiction, you're like, oh my gosh, what a horrible system. Then you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We have something like that on Earth.
Yeah.
What the hell?
And it's that realm of reality sometimes where it's really nice for kids, where they start making these critical thinking points.
Mm-hmm.
And a big part of Doctor Who's history was originally it was a learning program. It was originally a learning program. That's how it originally started, and it has since exploded into this massive phenomenon. How did you first come across it?
Well, my mom got the first season from the library, the first season of the revival.
Nice.
From the library when we watched it, and we really enjoyed it. It's despite the pilot being about mannequins coming to life, that was ridiculous.
That was weird. Weirdly enough, though, that's actually a classic Who villain.
Oh.
Living the Autons and all that.
Oh yeah. Then
really nice.
There's I love the British humor in this show as well. Just the names of things, these aliens from the planet Rexicorpophallipatorius is really funny to me.
I can't believe you remembered it.
I do. And then I think it was in the second episode, there was this space station, and it was Simon Pegg played this albino
that's
overseer.
right! I forgot that Simon Pegg was in that first season.
But he served this giant creature that basically was embedded in the ceiling, and its head would come down and eat people.
Yep.
And okay, what was his name? His name was the mighty Jagrafess of the Holy Hadrajasic Max Aragnopho. We call him Max.
I think so.
I just love that. The ridiculous names of things. It kind of reminds me of like Monty Python, where they're like, and now I'm introducing this this guest on my show, Raymond Luxury Yacht.
Yes.
It's spelled Raymond Luxury Yacht, but it's pronounced Throat Wobbler Mangrove. It's just... I just love it. I think growing up with British humor, I know that something doesn't have to make sense for it to be funny.
Yeah, Monty Python definitely inspired like that style of humor into more mainstream British.
Yeah. Just strange stuff that's a complete non sequitur. I just love.
Yeah, but yeah, that first series of the revival, like, it was kind of do or die because the new heads of the BBC like really wanted to bring the show back, despite older heads of the BBC's like in the 70s and the 80s saying we just want to get rid of Doctor Who. Like, there was like an entire almost conspiracy against him. Not to mention like there was an entire like parental movement trying to cancel the show, even.
What? Parental?
Yeah, like almost like one of the earliest examples I can even see of like cancel culture.
Huh.
Which is weird because it was this older woman. I think her name was Mary Whitehouse. I have to relook into that, but she was heavily against like a lot of the stuff in the show in the 70s, because in the 70s, during most of Tom Baker's years as the Doctor, the most popular version of the Doctor, they took on a more gothic atmosphere, kind of similar to like the Hammer horror films.
Okay.
And so like it became a lot about like the grotesqueness and the scares and everything like that at times, which was still, and they were still keeping to the core of the show, which was with the education of like themes and everything like that. But it's just like, we can't teach our children about all the, we can't teach our children all about all this, all of that. Words from me cannot do that justice. Like, honestly, I've come across this person recently. If you want a more in-depth review about like the history of Doctor Who, production-wise, behind-the-scenes-wise, and even in talking about like the current society of the world that they lived in at the time, I would definitely check out the YouTube channel Clever Dick Films. This guy does is currently ongoing a documentary like series about each era of each specific Doctor.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Which is really good. Which actually brings into the next part. The reason why Doctor Who has survived for so long is the constant changing of its leading man via regeneration, which originally was not planned, but it was done when the original Doctor, played by William Hartnell, he was diagnosed with a disease that made it very hard for him. Like, his body was not functioning with him as much. He had trouble forgetting his lines and everything, and so he had to. So it was decided that he had to give it up. But so that's when they came up with the concept of regeneration to switch out the Doctor into the second Doctor, one of my favorite additions, Patrick Troughton, who would become known as the Cosmic Hobo. I'm not kidding. It was great.
I love that. That's awesome.
So yeah, like if you want a more in-depth review about all like the behind-the-scenes stuff on that, definitely check out Clever Dick Films on YouTube. Huge shout out to you. I love watching your stuff. He's been doing the step-by-step on that, and he's also been doing like analysis reports on all of the different companions that the Doctor has had in the past.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because the companion is just as integral to the show as like the Doctor.
Yeah.
Because we love watching each iteration of the Doctor travel and interact and be as their own unique brand of zaniness. But the companion, usually 9 times out of 10, is like our window into this world.
Yeah.
Which is always really fun and fascinating. And it always sucks you in. Like, there's always something to love about Doctor Who. You can always get someone into Doctor Who through one way or another. It's very broad in its genre of science fiction.
Yeah. Oh man.
So, yeah, that was one of my things. And I have way too many favorite stories.
Oh gosh, I really like the ones that they're not really about aliens, but they're about kind of like spooky things. Like the angels is fun.
Oh
and
my god!
The one that's about what do they call it? The Vashta Narada, I think, where
don't get me started.
In the shadows, and they can eat you really fast and stuff. I love that one.
Okay,
that one was awesome.
Okay,
they threw a chicken wing into the darkness.
Yep,
and
then
came back just completely picked clean.
Okay, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
As a child, I had a very, very intense fear of the dark.
Uh-huh.
So, when I saw that episode, that really fucked me up,
yeah?
for lack of a better term. I'm like,
man.
Nope, I'm sorry, thank you. It's been fun. Goodbye. Thank you. Bye. Sorry. Thank you, and thank you for all the time traveling TARDISes.
I love that one, and the one about
it's a really good one.
Okay, one of my favorite episodes ever is what is it called?
If you describe it to me, I can probably identify it.
It's the one where it's one of the ones with David Tennant, where he goes on a trip in like I guess it's a space bus with like a couple of
Midnight.
Midnight. Yeah.
Oh my God! Yes.
And something attacks, and it's this creature that it possesses one of the other.
It possesses one of the other passengers.
One of the other passengers, and the way that it gets more and more powerful is it feeds off of your words. Like it can't speak unless
it mimics
you. So when you say something, it says something, and it just starts getting stronger and stronger and stronger.
Oh!
Until it starts to say what you're going to say before you say it.
It's that is such a good episode, mainly because the Doctor David Tennant's version, especially. I love David Tennant to death. He's one of my favorite actors of all time, and his tenure as the Doctor kind of was probably like the high point of like the revitalization of the series. Like, well, depending on who you ask, it's either that or Matt Smith. But he always had this swagger and charisma that just always worked in his favor to get people to like him. But that charisma kind of turned against him in this specific episode, and it was nail biting to watch. We're like, what the fuck?
Oh gosh, yeah. So yeah, watch that one, Midnight.
That, like, honestly, like, whenever I recommend specific episodes related to the Doctor, Midnight is like one of the top 5 I usually recommend for David Tennant.
Midnight. I like those ones where it's about creatures that you can't really see.
Yeah.
That just fascinates me.
And you were talking about the Weeping Angels, which is a creation of the Revived series.
Yeah. Oh, that one's fun.
You want to know something even more screwed up?
Yeah, of course.
The original story that the angels were in and all the subsequent appearances, those aren't statues. No, like all the angels that you see in the episodes, like when they're standing still and everything like that, those are actual people.
Oh, actual people?
Yep.
In dressed as statues?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome, like at Ren Fair.
Kind of.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
I know what I'm doing for Ren Fair next year.
Like, it's one of the simplest scares. You don't look at a statue at these angels, they move. And their story Blink is one of...
It's so good.
It's a weird entity because it's what has been described as a Doctor Light episode. Where the Doctor's barely involved.
Yeah. I think it was Carey Mulligan was in it. She played with the girl, Sally Sparrow.
Yep.
And I love Carey Mulligan. She's just...
You'd be like...
She's gorgeous.
The amount of, like, high caliber guest stars that they get on that show from the Revived era is kind of weird, because You had them. Andrew Garfield was in the third season before he became Spider-Man.
Which episode was that?
Daleks Take Manhattan. When they were in New York.
Oh.
And they made like a human Dalek hybrid.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
That was him?
No, no. That one was not him, but he was
Oh.
he was a main fixture in that episode.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Andrew Garfield and Carey Mulligan were in Never Let Me Go, that movie
That's
that
right.
I told you about.
Ian McKellen was in one of the Christmas specials. He was a voiceover, but you can distinctly tell his voice.
Okay.
He's got one of the most recognizable voices ever.
Oh man, yeah.
The legendary John Hurt.
Yeah, I know that one.
Actually played a version of the Doctor for the 50th anniversary special.
Yeah, that's right. He was like one of the Doctors.
He was the Doctor that specifically fought in the Time War that was established in the revived era.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, man, love that special to death.
Oh gosh, yes.
Also, mainly just to see the squabbling between Matt Smith and David Tennant, but that's just
hilarious. I love it.
It's just funny just seeing Matt Smith's 11th Doctor talk down to David Tennant's 10th Doctor, mainly because 11 is older than 10, when in actuality, Smith is so much more younger than Tennant.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is kind of adorable.
I don't know. People, there's lots of differing opinions about Matt Smith, but I like him. I appreciate his performance.
I just, like, for me, quality of the Doctor usually comes off in, like, mainly his actions, as well as, like, the scripts that are given to him. Unfortunately, Smith kind of got hurt a little bit in his last season because they weren't really able to focus on that so much because they were focusing so much attention on the 50th anniversary special from what I researched. But he's probably, like, one of the most engaging Doctors.
Yeah.
He's a definite favorite for a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a sucker for a gawky, scatterbrained dude. Like, it's
That's fair. Also, he speaks to babies.
Oh yeah. I speak baby.
He doesn't like the name Alfie. He prefers to be called Stormageddon, Dark Lord of all. That's what he calls himself.
I love
How
that.
exactly do you know that? I speak baby. No, Stormageddon, he's your dad. You can't just call him not Mum. Wait, not Mum. Yes, that's you. Also not Mum, that's me. And everyone else is peasants. That's a bit unfortunate.
Oh my gosh.
That's like one of my most quoted ones from Matt Smith's time.
Oh, I love it.
And like I said, everybody has like their favorite version of the Doctor. I love each Doctor for many different reasons, but I think for me, one of my favorite iterations, and this is a little bit weird, is the 12th Doctor, Peter Capaldi. I love his interpretation of the Doctor, mainly because I love Capaldi as an actor. And he's been a huge fan of the show ever since, because he first watched the show when it first aired back in '63.
Oh, wow.
And he's even lent his hand into like some story roots for the series in terms of like
Wow.
I don't know about the Wilderness Years, but maybe. And he even appeared in an episode during David Tennant's time before he became the Doctor.
What? When? Which one?
The Pompeii episode.
Oh, okay.
And they actually reference that episode during his time as to why he has the face he has.
Oh.
They actually link that.
Oh, where it's like, okay, like he takes on a
Yeah.
face that he's seen somewhere? Is that?
Yeah, and
Oh,
which has been done before. I mean, the 6th Doctor, Colin Baker, was an antagonistic force that the 5th Doctor encountered before he regenerated it into 6th. So
Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
I know it's
Yeah.
fun little tidbits.
Yeah. Do you
And
have a favorite companion?
oh, that's tough.
No.
My mom has her favorites too. She loves Donna Noble and she loves Amy and Rory.
Yeah, they're fun. I think, yeah.
Me and my mother quote the Agatha Christie episode of Doctor Who so much.
Oh my god.
It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
It's always the scene where the doctor's been poisoned. He's trying to instruct people what to do, and like he's mimicking stuff. It's like okay. He's just shaking his hand. It's like okay, one word: shake, milk, shake. No, okay. Oh, cocktail shake. What do you want? Harvey Wallbanger. Harvey Wallbanger. How is that one word?
Harvey Wallbanger.
That's the exact way he says it too.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to say, I think Donna Noble is one of my favorites.
Oh.
Like, I think she was only there for one season, but
she was
very
the
kind of under. I think she's kind of underrated. I just love her character arc.
Compared to some other companions, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But I have to say, the chemistry between David Tennant and Catherine Tate. My God.
It's great. Didn't they do a version of Much Ado About Nothing together?
Yes.
Yeah. But no, it's awesome.
And they often do British comedy sketches together. Like, it's... Oh, my God.
Yeah. They were great together. Because there's always... I don't know, one of those things that kind of sometimes annoys me about Doctor Who's with the companions. Like, it's always kind of like, will they, won't they? And the girl, like the companion always kind of has a crush on him or whatever.
To be fair, that's more of a that's actually more of a gripe about the revived series.
Yeah, the
like,
revived series.
That really didn't happen
But
in the original. And
yeah, that always kind of annoyed me. I was like, oh man, like just another one with this awkward sexual tension going on.
But they broke that up with Donna because for them it was more of a bromance than anything.
Yeah.
Because they play off each other too well.
Yeah, it was just.
How dare they?
It was one of those partnerships that's kind of like. I'm trying to remember we were. I don't remember which episode this was in, but kind of like what we want to teach children with movies and stuff, and like one of the things that we should teach little boys is that like we want boys to like value their friends who are girls for like their skills and stuff, and want them to be on their team. And I kind of felt like that was the way it was with Donna.
And Doctor Who is like 9 times out of 10 has always been ahead of the curve on a lot of like societal issues. Like that's kind of like one of the secrets to their longevity, especially in like the 60s and the 70s. Like, my God, like watching some of those earlier episodes is really good. One of my favorites of all time is Genesis of the Daleks.
All right.
It's from the Tom Baker era, which automatically, yay, Tom Baker. That man is such an eccentric. It's kind of nuts. But basically, it tells a story about how the Daleks were originally created. The Doctor is tasked by the Time Lords to either prevent the Daleks' creation, to kill them, or alter them so they're less aggressive, because they foresee the future where the Daleks become the masters of the universe.
Yeah.
So, and there's a quote in that episode where the Doctor has the opportunity to kill them. If I touch these 2 wires together, then the Daleks are finished. An entire intelligent life form wiped off the face of existence. Do I have the right to make that choice?
Oh my gosh.
And he asks his companions, if someone pointed out a child to you and told you that child would grow up to be completely evil, become a ruthless dictator who would go on to destroy millions upon billions of lives, would you then be able to kill that child?
Yeah, no.
The Hitler question.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, obviously when the Daleks were originally created, they were based on Nazi fascism. And, my God. Like, I don't know what it is about that episode in particular. I can't imagine that episode with anyone other than Baker because of, like, his turn of phrase with his words that are just, yes, give me more. Give me more, you amazing, philosophical, beautiful man. Oh, Tom Baker is my godmother's favorite version of the Doctor.
Oh, that's right, because you gave her the scarf.
My little brother, when he originally took up knitting, he decided, you know what, I'm going to make the Tom Baker scarf for our godmother for Christmas. It took him 8 months to make that scarf, because he went the original, 15-foot length.
Yep. Oh, that's great. I love the story about how that scarf was made, where they were like, here's the yarn that you can use to make this scarf, and she thought they meant use just all the yarn
yeah.
they'd given her.
But and it wasn't like that, but the actor and the showrunner loved the idea so much, we're like, let's do this.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, there's so many good stories. I think one of my favorite episodes that I always recommend people is one of Peter Capaldi's episodes. Specifically, Heaven Sent. Now,
I haven't seen very much of Peter Capaldi.
This is a really weird episode because it happens after an episode after one of his companions dies. Mm-hmm. He's transported to some place far away. It's like some kind of castle. He doesn't have the TARDIS with him. And basically, aside from a brief cameo with 3 lines of dialogue from his past companion, which is a memory, mm-hmm. It's only Capaldi talking.
Oh my God.
The entire episode. And it's an episode about grief. And it's...
What's it called?
Heaven Sent.
Oh, man.
Technically, it's the second part of a 3-episode story.
Yeah.
But on its own, it's probably my favorite episode of the revived series. And it shows you just how great Peter Capaldi is. And it was that episode in particular, I'm like, this man is my doctor. David Tennant, I'm sorry, I love you. This man is my doctor.
Oh my God.
Because with every doctor has an eccentricity in some way. Capaldi started off very, very, very detached, very emotionally detached and distant, very cold on the outside, but he cares much, much more than he originally lets on. He just doesn't know how to process all that. He's probably one of the most alien he's ever been.
Uh-huh.
Just to see his character arc through his tenure is just.
That's wonderful.
Oh, one thing we haven't really touched base on is Doctor Who probably has one of the biggest gallery of classic monsters.
Oh yeah.
We mentioned the Daleks.
Yep. The Cybermen.
That one's one of my personal favorites because honestly, that monster, the Cybermen, was originally developed based on actual human fears of prosthetics.
Oh.
Prosthetic limbs and organs that as we replaced the body parts, were becoming less and less human.
Yeah.
If I remember right, the showrunners at the time actually consulted a psychologist that specialized in this area to get thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of times they're so effective.
Yeah.
Because they're human.
Yeah.
Underneath it all, they are human.
Yeah.
And oof.
Yeah. I wrote a short story once actually about cyborgs and robots and kind of that thought process of when do you stop being a human and start being a machine. I think that's really fascinating.
Compulsory upgrading is necessary. What happens if we refuse? Then you are not compatible. What happens then? You will be deleted. Die! Their reintroduction into the Revive series was so good.
That was the one where they went to that parallel universe with the Zeppelin, right?
Yep, they went to the parallel universe where this one guy created the entirety of the Cybermen, played by the same actor who played Barty Crouch Sr. from Harry Potter.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Barty Crouch Sr. created the Cybermen, which is the mortal enemy of the then Doctor, who was Barty Crouch Jr.
Yeah.
You can't make this up!
No.
This lunacy writes itself, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my gosh.
So many actors from Harry Potter actually were in that show. Arthur
yeah.
Arthur Weasley was Rory's dad.
That's right.
Michael Gambon,
Michael Gambon?
yeah, Michael Gambon, who played Dumbledore, was in was in Matt Smith's first Christmas episode.
Oh, okay.
God, too many. Oh, Warwick Davis, who played Grip Hook and Professor Flitwick, was in one of Matt Smith's episodes.
Warwick Davis.
I can't believe I remembered his name. I usually forget his name.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, John Hurt, who played Ollivander, would eventually play a version of the Doctor.
Mm-hmm. Man.
God Almighty.
Whew.
Yeah, you could tell. Like I love this show.
A lot of this, like the time travel stuff and people getting trapped in other universes and and just sort of the way that that Donna's arc ended as well was like they find ways of ending somebody's story that's somehow it's worse than if they just died, you know.
There was actually one companion death in the original series where basically his death coincided with the meteor wiping out the dinosaurs.
Ah.
And it's actually like one of the most highlighted deaths in Doctor Who.
Oh my gosh.
Which is kind of weird because the companion who died was one of the most hated companions in the show's history, but he got like one of the most famous companion deaths. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, how did this happen?
Oh my god. Yeah. Yep, like just, oh man.
But yeah, the variety that this show offers, because you can go straight sci-fi with one story, and then you can go like complete Earth historical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like going back in time, forward in time.
Yeah, and sometimes you get a mix of both, like the pseudo historical stuff. Mm-hmm. One of the earliest adventures like they ever had was they were following the journey of Marco Polo.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That was like one of the first stories that they did.
Oh wow.
And it's something.
I like the one where they meet Vincent Van Gogh.
Oh, that one hurts.
It's so sad.
It hurts.
Where the whole time the whole time Amy is trying to trying to make sure that Vincent doesn't kill himself.
And they take him to the Van Gogh exhibit.
Yeah, and he looks at it and stuff, but like nothing changed. Like that's what depression does.
He hugged Bill Nye.
Yep, that's what depression does to you, though. Like even if you see, even if people admire your work and think that you're amazing, you can still be in a really dark place. Like just because you're successful doesn't mean you're happy. You know?
Even though they offered some good in his life, it wasn't enough to outweigh the bad, but they gave him a little glimpse, a little hope.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. My heart breaks every single time. That's like one of my favorite Matt Smith episodes. Mm-hmm. Just because it's so unique that they brought a historical figure like that to the modern day for that. Honestly, I thought like the weirdest one was when they met William Shakespeare. And they had to defeat these witches, and the final word that ends it is frickin' Expelliarmus!
Yeah. Okay, here's the quote about Van Gogh when they go to the museum.
Oh, you found it?
Yeah, so they bring Van Gogh to the Van Gogh exhibit to see all of his art hanging up and all these people coming to see it. And the doctor says, between you and me, in 100 words, where do you think Van Gogh rates in the history of art? And the curator, played by Bill Nye, well, big question, but to me, Van Gogh is the finest painter of them all. Certainly the most popular and great painter of all time. The most beloved, his command of color most magnificent. He transformed the pain of a tormented life into ecstatic beauty. Pain is easy to portray, but to use your passion and pain to portray the ecstasy and joy and magnificence of our world, no one has ever done it before. Perhaps no one ever will again. To my mind, that strange, wild man who roamed the fields of Provence was not only the world's greatest artist, but also one of the greatest men who ever lived.
As you were saying those words, I'm picturing the scene in my mind, like where Bill Nye is just talking. You just see the actor who played Van Gogh, fantastic job. Mm-hmm. And he's just looking at like all the paintings, mm-hmm. and like he's just getting so emotional.
Yeah.
You can just see it in his eyes. I'm like, oh God, oh, honey, sweetheart, I wanna hug you.
Yeah. Oh man.
Like, that's. It's one of the only times like in the show's history where I can say like where they even did something like that, mm-hmm. and it's such a standout moment, mm-hmm. such an emotional high, and then brought back down by the reality that they didn't change anything.
Yeah.
But even still, like, God.
Yeah. This show is like, it's hilarious and oddball and weird, but it's also really, really like touching and heartbreaking and poignant, I guess could be the word.
When they know how to when they know when to be serious.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They know how to be serious, especially on certain topics. One of those moments for me, again, to go back to Capaldi, because mm-hmm. this one is one of his most famous. Mm-hmm. His war speech.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you ever heard of this mm-hmm. one. So, it's a two-parter episode called The Zygon Invasion and The Zygon Inversion.
Oh, okay.
At the climax of it, it basically comes down to a room, 2 boxes, each containing 2 buttons of mm-hmm. truth or consequence. Mm-hmm. Because basically Zygons are these alien-like creatures that can transform themselves to look like humans.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They're like... They're the monsters that were featured in the 50th anniversary special, which is this story is a direct continuation of that. Okay. And basically a rebellious group of Zygons, because they made a truce between the humans and the Zygon.
Yeah.
But this rebellious group of Zygons were like, we don't want to abide by this, so mm-hmm. let's just take over.
Yeah.
And so the Doctor is trying to placate everything with all this death and destruction happening, and it comes down to this final part, and the Zygon, who's taken the form of his companion Clara at the time, mm-hmm. and the Zygon's asking all this, and the Doctor's just she's like, this is not fair, life's not fair, mm-hmm. we've been treated unfairly, so is everybody else. And he's just being so matter-of-fact about it because he's heard it all before. Mm-hmm. But he still treats it as just like... as a serious thing. Mm-hmm. And it all boils down because each side is about to press a button that is either that's gonna cause devastating effect to either side. Mm-hmm. And both sides are berating the Doctor because the Doctor was the one who set this all up. He's like, why did you set this up? And he says, because I remember this speech word for word, because this is not a game. Mm-hmm. What you're seeing in front of you is a scale model of war. Every war ever fought right there in front of you, because it's always the same. No matter how right you feel, when you fire that first shot, you have no idea who's going to die. You won't know whose children will scream and burn, how many hearts will be broken, how many lives shattered. How much blood needs to be spilled before each side has to do what they were always going to have to do from the very beginning: sit down and talk. Words cannot... I cannot do justice his acting in this, because he speaks with a fiery passion and rage and just done with all of this that... I get goosebumps every time I watch that scene.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that sounds awesome. I might go and watch this now.
Absolutely.
The Peter Capaldi season. For some reason, like, I got through, like, 2 or 3 of them. 2 or 3 of the episodes, and I don't know what happened.
It's weird. Capaldi's often overlooked. Because mainly, like, well...
I wouldn't say overlooked. I just haven't gotten around to it.
not for us, but he's often overlooked by a lot of modern Who fans, because most modern Who fans got used to the eye candy of David Tennant and Matt Smith at times.
Yeah.
Because Doctor Who was that for a while.
Yep.
Yeah. It really was that for a while, but that's not what the show's about.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think my opinion for your first episode to watch for Peter Capaldi is an episode from his first series, Mummy on the Orient Express.
I did see that one.
I love that episode to death.
I've seen more of his. I've seen more of his stuff than I thought. Yeah, I think maybe I saw like half of the season or something. Because I remember Mummy on the Orient Express.
So pleased to finally see you. I am the doctor. I will be your victim for this evening. Are you my mummy?
Are you my mummy?
They will never let that callback go. Cause
oh gosh, yeah.
Did you see? You said you saw the first series with Christopher Eccleston.
That one. Are you my mummy?
Oh, that one gives me nightmares.
Yep. Mummy.
And I still think that's.
Coming to find you.
You know that story was the first one that was written by forgetting his name. Crap.
Mark Gatiss.
No, who was the other writer for Sherlock?
Mark Gatiss and written by created for BBC by Mark Gatiss and
we're drawing blanks here.
Mark Gatiss and oh goodness, Russ something? No.
No, it's not. No, it's
Russell
not.
T Davies?
No.
No.
Moffat. Stephen Moffat.
Stephen Moffat.
That was one of the first episodes that Moffat ever wrote for the series, and he would go on to write the introduction of the Weeping Angels.
Yep.
He would create the companion River Song, which
River Song. Oh my gosh, that is such a cool story arc as well, like time travel and everything.
And it's complete.
Oh yeah.
They thought they were like. I thought they were going to leave it unfinished with Matt Smith, and then one Christmas at the end of Capaldi's second year, they announced the Christmas special that River Song was returning. I'm like, ah!
Yeah!
Yes! I love, for those that know me best, I love River Song to death. Alex Kingston, I adore her. I might have a slight crush on her.
Oh, she's great. I don't know. I love how snarky she is and how she just doesn't give a care. Like,
oh, when you combine her snarkiness with Capaldi's snarkiness, it's
good grief.
Oh,
all right,
I love it.
I'm looking forward to it. I'll be watching this.
Yes.
I'll find it somehow.
I know it. If I remember correctly, it's on Amazon, but it's not free for Amazon Prime. You have to like rent out each season or something like that. Unfortunately.
Okay.
So,
the sacrifice I'm willing to make.
I think I have like a couple, like maybe the first season on DVD and stuff like that. I know I
have no way of watching a DVD though.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. But yeah, so I want to end this out by talking about. Well, we've talked about some of our favorite episodes. We talked about some of our favorite stuff. I want to go over like what makes each version of the Doctor so great, and like my opinion of like why we keep watching after so many years. Like even as times change, like so many people like myself go back to Doctor Who. It's just there's always something to look forward to with it. It's like when you go back to one of your favorite shows. It's like you're seeing it in a different lens. You're looking at different aspects. It's like an old friend that you're seeing again for the first time after so long. And even though things are different, in the end, down deep, it's still the same thing. I know a lot of people have complaints with like Jodie Whittaker's tenure and everything like that, but I still see some good stuff with her. And I know it usually mainly just comes down to the writing and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's still good. I still see the show underneath it. I still see the brilliance, the charm, the emotion. It's wonderful. It contains so many lessons that helped shape my adulthood almost. Which honestly, sci-fi is influential for a lot of young people's lives. When sci-fi is really like one of the first genres, like no matter what kind of medium you see, whether it be Doctor Who, Star Trek, Star Wars, or even anything in between. It's like one of their first times grasping like high concept thoughts.
I think Ender's Game is like that for me.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And there are so many timeless stories from Doctor Who's history, whether you're talking about the original black and white eras of Hartnell and Troughton to the advent of color television and gothic horror, like with Tom Baker, or even the crazy, weird in-between years of the 80s where everything was like just off the bounds, even to the audio dramas in the 90s when the show wasn't on the air, to even to the revival. There's so much to take in.
Yep.
And everybody has their favorite version of the Doctor, whether it be because of their personality, their story arcs, or just
Cheekbones.
hey, still waiting. We're still waiting for a ginger Doctor. We're still waiting for a ginger Doctor to come true. Rupert Grint for Doctor 2021.
Oh man.
No, I'm just kidding. Jodie Whittaker, you're doing great. Take your time.
I want to see a black Doctor.
Idris Elba at one point was considered.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
I'd be about it.
I'd be about it too. Oh my gosh, that's the most exciting thing you've said in this whole episode.
Idris Elba
that
as
they
the
would
Doctor.
think that he was considered.
Well,
makes me so happy.
Many actors were considered like at different points in time. Like I'm trying to think of another one. I know John Hurt wanted to do one at one point, I think. Mm-hmm. Capaldi's been trying to get in it for years, and until he finally got it. Mm-hmm. I think Hugh Laurie at one point was considered.
What?
Maybe?
Hugh Laurie? That's awesome.
It's kind of hard to tell. It's kind of hard to see it because he's so iconic as House.
Yeah, but okay, yeah. I don't really know him that much from House. I know him more from a little bit of Fry and Laurie and
which is fair.
And Jeeves and Wooster. Like, I know his comedy stuff a little bit better, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, Doctor Who, keep on keeping on. We the fans love you very much. And just remember, well, as Matt Smith taught us, beans are evil.
Beans?
Beans are evil.
That's true, actually.
I don't know why, but that just came into my head. Like his very first episode, he's trying to eat all this stuff. He says, "I want
fish sticks and custard.
I need fish fingers and custard." I think that actually became a thing for a while in the UK, and I'm like,
Ew.
why?
Ew. That's what he ate when he was off his head. Why would you do that?
Well, I don't think it was actually fish fingers. They actually used
Twinkies.
I don't think it was Twinkies. It was like some kind of like bread pastry.
Oh, nice. Oh my gosh.
Yep, people are weird. So I think that about wraps up this episode on Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you guys so much again for listening to this episode all about Doctor Who. Do you guys have any favorite moments or episodes, or even one of your favorite Doctors from the series?
Yeah, tell us.
Let us know wherever we can be found on social media. We're on Twitter and Facebook at Gen Geek Podcast, and we're on Instagram at General Geekery. Let us know on there. We'll probably post up that question.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. Also, another quick shout out to Clever Dick Films over on YouTube. Definitely go check them out if you want to learn more about some behind-the-scenes stuff on Doctor Who's history. He does a very good in-depth analysis about that. And you guys can also check out Doctor Who on Amazon. I do not believe they are available for free streaming with Amazon Prime. I believe it's like a subscription through BritBox, but it's been a while since I checked.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's that. Hannah, where can they find you, my friend?
Well, I can be found rolling dice with my party every Monday at 7:30 on twitch.tv/loadeddiceadventures. You can also follow me on Instagram at Pythian Legume, and you can listen to my other podcast that I do with my mom, Splankniks, where we talk about art, culture, and tabletop gaming from the perspective of two different generations of nerds.
Excellent. And you guys can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at RyuzakiMK7. You can also check me out on my Twitch.tv page as well at RyuzakiMK7, where I also stream a bunch of games, mainly RPGs, but every now and again I throw in some fun stuff as well. Just this past weekend, I had my little brother playing through Drunk Dark Souls, which that was a treat and a half. Well, he always drinks whenever he plays Bloodborne or Dark Souls on stream, because in his logic, the drunker he gets, the better off he plays.
I mean, he is right, though.
Here's the thing. He always drinks screwdrivers, which is orange juice and vodka, but he always puts in too much vodka.
Yeah.
So I always have to stay sober just to make sure he doesn't die.
That's dangerous, man. Yeah. Drinking a bunch of screwdrivers, you never know, because it tastes so good.
They do. They do. That's why I have to keep my eye on him. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, this has been episode 43 of the General Geekery Podcast, all about Doctor Who. Until next time, guys, for Hannah Kubiak, I'm Donald Kaczynski. And until next time, guys, always remember, don't turn your back, don't look away, don't blink, and always remember to reverse the polarity of the neutron flow. And always remember, keep your geek on.
Always.
Clink, clink.
Clink, clink. Hashtag clink, clink.
Yes!
I'm gonna make that a thing.
Yes! Later, guys.
Bye.